Hi, this is Zoe, and welcome to Paranormal Extraction. And I'm Zoe Starr. Today we have something completely different on. We have Dean Gleason of Seaway Valley Bigfoot Research. Now, he is also the executive director. So, we haven't really talked about Bigfoot before. So, this is going to be really fun and really different today. So we're going to go over and we are going to talk to Dean and interview. Yay! Thanks, Dean. Hey, Dean. All right. So, first of all, I just want to, just say thank you so much for coming on. Um, we
Oh,
have
you're welcome.
we have spoken, and you have some unbelievable things to talk about. And since you are the executive director of Seaway Valley Bigfoot Research, first, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and your organization?
Sure. Well, as you said, my name is Dean Gleason. I am the founder and executive director of Seaway Valley Bigfoot Research. We've been in existence for quite a number of years. We have been covering the Seaway Valley of New York State, uh, Adirondacks, and even down into the Finger Lakes. We've gone on numerous investigations of people reporting sightings of Sasquatch or Bigfoot. Um, we've had many, many encounters. I personally have had about 6 sightings over the years, including one very, very close encounter. Um, I founded the organization after several people in my area came to me and asked me to do it because there was so much activity over the last 20 years in our area. Um, it's been a gas. It's been a lot of fun. Met a lot of great people. I've interviewed a lot of eyewitnesses, all sincere. I have gotten a knack over the years. I can tell when somebody is, trying to put one over on me and when they're not.
Oh, you mean the CGIs?
Yeah,
Okay.
you get a few people that I
Oh,
don't know,
you
trying
get
to make up a story, but
you get that a lot. I get that a lot. Yeah, so I can't even imagine what you get. Oh my God.
oh
Um,
yeah. Well, I've been very fortunate. I have only had a couple of people that I think were trying to, yank my chain or whatever to see if I was sincere or whether I was crazy or not. But for the most part, people that come to you with their stories are very sincere. And you can tell just by talking to them, they actually saw something or they heard something or they found tracks or, whatever their particular encounter with the big guy was. Um, I've gotten the knack over the years. I can sort them out pretty good.
well, that's awesome. Okay, so why don't you tell me about some of your experiences that you had or anything from anybody else? Now, I know that you have a casting, okay, of Bigfoot. You showed me that, of course, and that's in the ad that we did. And something about hair or something like that. I think we spoke about. So where?
Well, I have personally never found any hair, but I have seen Bigfoot hair that other people have found. Um, the genetics of it has been tested. There's also been blood samples collected over the years and fecal samples, and they've all come back to being an unknown primate, the ones that were not identified as something else. The FBI recently came out and pretty much admitted that Bigfoot is real, just by the DNA evidence.
Oh, now, okay, so where can you find the FBI? I mean, that is
Well, they
admitting this.
announced it around the same time that they announced all the UFO information. It was during the pandemic. I'm not sure exactly where you go. I read it over the last couple of years. It's been sent to me, and I've seen the articles. I'm not sure exactly where to send you, but I'm sure a simple web search you'd be able to find it.
Yeah, okay. Just I'm going to go off track here a little second.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I know about it is I was watching a documentary on TV and they had five scientists sit around a table and it was on Bigfoot. And they all came together and looked at all the evidence and no one knew each other And then they all came back for the conclusion, and they all agreed that it was a species of unknown origin. So that's what their take was on it. So now you're telling me that there's been, they've progressed into saying that this is actually a creature.
Well, yeah, it's just on the DNA evidence alone. And if you go to track mythology too, that pretty much proves that it is a species. Every track that is found is not identical, like a lot of people may believe. There's variances in the tracks that indicate that it's a species, that it's not something that's just made up. It's not somebody faking the tracks. They've actually found dermal ridges on some of the tracks. And that would be almost impossible to fake.
What's a dermo?
Well, every primate has ridges on their feet, like you have fingerprints on your hands.
Sure.
There's fingerprints on your feet.
Right.
That's why when a baby is born, they always take a footprint of the baby, so that if they have to identify the baby later on, they have that. Bigfoot has dermal ridges on his feet.
Wow.
Not the same as ours, but they do have them. And there has been tracks that have been found where the dermal ridges were visible.
Unbelievable. Okay, I haven't heard about that. Well, I'm not a executive director, so I just you just gave me some new information there. So they have these ridges on their feet similar to us. So they're all different then. I mean, they're the same species, okay, but they're all different. Right. Wow.
Well, the ridges on your feet are as identifiable as your fingerprints are.
Wow.
So when they find Bigfoot prints with dermal ridges, they're different than the other ones they found. Or if they're the same, then you're dealing with the same individual. Also, they have found footprints of Bigfoot that had defects in their feet.
Really?
Which are possible to find. They found crippled individuals that have left footprints where they have broken their foot or their ankle, so that their footprint is not a pristine, typical Bigfoot print you see on TV or they have in cartoons or whatever. There's differences in the feet.
TV or cartoons. You're so funny. Okay, so there's differences in their feet then.
Right.
Okay. And
just on that, there's overwhelming evidence that Bigfoot is a real species.
Wow. Okay. So can they go to, I mean, do you have a YouTube channel or somewhere where they can go to follow you to see?
Right now, I've been doing TikTok videos. I've been doing what I call Bigfoot stories. I tell stories that I've heard or that I've experienced myself. I do those periodically. Fairly soon, I'm going to be doing a YouTube show on another, what's the word looking for? Another channel. I work for a movie studio up in the area where I live. I've done a few movies for them and some other things, and they're trying to start their own YouTube channel. And they've asked me to do a cryptid show on there. We haven't started it yet, but that's going to be coming soon.
Wow, that's awesome. So, so right now, all they can really do is go to your Facebook page.
Yeah, they can go to my Facebook page, which is Seaway Valley Bigfoot Research.
Okay.
Or they can look me up under my name on TikTok, and they'll be able to find me on there.
Okay, everybody, it's Dean Gleason. All right. So tell me some more. Now, the track, you did send me the pictures of that track. So that you found. Mm-hmm. You found that and did a casing on that. Isn't that what it's called?
A cast, yeah.
A cast, okay. So is that the only thing that you personally have found? And
well, I have found tracks more than once. I have found fecal matter a couple of different times. I also, I think I sent you the pictures. I found an old abandoned camper.
Yes.
The areas where I was doing research, and there were actually fingerprints and a face print on the window. of the camper.
Yes. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I did see that.
I found that track the one I made the cast of about 50 feet away from that camper.
Oh my
So
God.
that added credibility that that's what it was. In the area where I found the camper, nobody goes in there. It's on private property. That camper has been there probably 20 years and hasn't been used in probably 15. It's all falling apart. But anyways, what I think happened was there was a squatch in that area, and he was just curious, and he put his hand on the window and looked in and stuck his face up against the window and left a print on it.
Yeah. Did
But
you
I just
get,
happened to be lucky to come along, and I found the track, and then I found the fingerprints and the face print.
well, okay, did you have anybody come out and take some type of analysis on the fingerprints or
No, I
anything
did
like?
not.
Okay.
We're not that high tech.
Okay.
We're also very
you
low
mean
budget.
you mean kind of like me today where the video doesn't work.
Yeah, we are very, very shoestring budget here. Most of the money that is put into it is from my own pocket. We do sell some T-shirts when we go to conventions, but it's not enough really to fund what we do. So most of the time, it's money out of my pocket or one of the other people that's in the organization. If we're going to go do an investigation, we pay our own way. We don't
Who
charge people for coming.
Dean, I mean, who doesn't? That's what I'm
Yeah, well, I
saying.
mean, we've
Yeah.
been offered donations when we went out, when we've had to go quite a ways away, we've been offered donations. And, sometimes they'll put us up for the night or pay for our hotel or something
Yeah,
like that.
sure.
That's about the extent that we've ever gotten from anybody. But we
Right.
don't charge for doing it. If they call us and ask us to come and we can set aside the time and yeah, I can talk real good today. Logistically be there, we will come.
Wow.
But,
Okay.
it's tough because we all work full-time jobs too.
Well, yeah. Okay. Who doesn't? There I go again. Okay. Okay. So let's see your shirt because you just talked about shirts.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
saw it
I
before you
saw this shirt
started.
online. It's I'll stand up, probably see it better.
Oh,
It's
that's
it's just a hockey jersey with Bigfoot on it. I thought it was cool,
oh
so
yeah. I
I had
wanted
to get it.
everyone to see that because it was just like great. So they
Yeah, if they
can
want one, it's a company called Jersey Ninja,
okay.
and they sell all kinds of really cool jerseys. And they had a couple of different Bigfoot ones. They had a Yeti one and this one, so I had to get
Okay,
them.
so but you also said you guys sell those, right?
Was that no? I don't sell the jerseys. No, we do have
Okay.
some T-shirts that we sell when we go to conventions. I've been
Oh,
at conventions around the area, as far up as in Vermont, and so we'll take the T-shirts up there just as a fundraiser, just to try to offset our costs a little bit. It's nothing that we really push much.
right. Well, you're doing an absolutely fantastic job, and I'm kind of new at the whole Bigfoot thing, and I really wanted you to come on because, boy, you're so highly intelligent and ethical, and you know more than I have ever heard on this from all of the pre-interviews that I've done. So now let's talk about some. Oh, I have a really good question for you.
Sure.
Okay, I've seen these structures that they show a lot, okay, or I get a lot of pictures of these structures that are so called built by Bigfoot.
Okay.
Okay. Are those real? I mean, because there's a lot of people on here that are listening to you that they don't know any of this. Okay. And then you
Okay.
go
Yeah.
on.
What you're talking about is mostly a phenomena that happens in Ohio. Out in Ohio, they call Bigfoot the Grassman
Okay.
because of the area that they frequent. There's areas out there, I guess, that are big, huge areas where it's mostly grass, and it's high grass. It's like as tall as a man.
Right.
And a lot of times that's where they have found those structures. Now, personally, I have never found one. One of the other people that is in my organization did one time in our area. He found it and took some pictures of it. I'm not sure if that's a common thing in our area or not, but the phenomena that you're talking about is mostly associated with what they call the Ohio grassman.
Okay. So that's where most of the structures come from through your
That's
research.
where most of the reports that I've heard come from that area.
Okay, so through your research, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen a lot of those structures and they're very odd. It just, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of them too. And people out there, when when you're watching this video, of course, you're going to want to know what they are, but they don't even look like, Dean, like they could fit inside them. So it makes no sense to me, like
Well,
what.
I'm not sure if they're making those as a residence or as a nest. I think that they may be deer blinds, is what they might be. Okay,
Okay, what was that? Deer blinds?
deer blinds is what I think they might be.
And what is
Okay.
that?
Well, they'll make those to cover themselves so that when a deer comes by, they can grab it. Okay, I have found a spot up on some of the land that I do research on where I think I found something similar to that. It wasn't quite built like the ones you see in Ohio, but it was an area that looked like something had been setting in or had been using quite often because the ground was wore down, and it was in the perfect spot to ambush a deer. So I think that may be what they used it for.
Okay. Wow. So they're meat eaters.
Oh yeah, they're omnivores, just like a bear or a human. They'll eat anything they can get.
Oh my God. So with all
They're
these,
not hairy. You know, you see the movie Harry and the Hendersons where they tried to make out that Bigfoot was a vegetarian. No, Bigfoot will eat whatever it can get. It's like a bear. They a lot of times if there's bear in the area, there's Bigfoot in the area too because they eat basically the same things a bear does.
oh my God. Okay. So there's a lot of missing people in these areas. Are they eating us? I know. I mean, I'm sitting here kind of getting a little scared. So, and
Okay, the Bigfoot are different. Um, they're different depending on the area of the country that they live in. Okay, the Bigfoot, for the most part, I think Bigfoot are pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? They're not docile, but they don't really want to have encounters with humans if they can possibly help it.
oh,
They are
really?
aggressive in certain areas of the country. Out west, especially in the Rocky Mountain area, Sierras, um, they seem to be more aggressive out there. The ones in the area that I do my research in, I've only ever had one scare the snot out of me one time, and that was being very verbal with me, very, very aggressively verbal. But they've never charged me. I've heard of people being charged by Bigfoot, which is a grade eight. Excuse me, a cat just jumped up here.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Is there are a grade eight tendency to do what they call a demonstration charge. It doesn't mean they're going to kill you. It doesn't mean they're going to hurt you, but they will charge at you to get you to run or to leave the area. I've heard Bigfoot doing that. Um, but personally, I've never experienced one that tried to do anything remotely to hurt me. Like I said, one yelled and screamed at me one night when I was in the woods, and that was enough. I left. I got the message. I took off.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Right.
didn't bother anymore that day.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So you took off.
Yeah, I just left.
I have a question for you. Out of all the people that I've talked to, okay, and which they're nowhere near you, speaking to you. That's why you're on today. Um, they feel that they're interdimensional beings. What's your feeling on that?
I do not believe that.
Okay, you do not.
No. I feel that Bigfoot is an unidentified primate. Okay, very closely related to humans. I don't think that they have any supernatural powers. I've had people talk to me. I've had witnesses come to me and swear that the Bigfoot could send out some kind of thing that paralyzed him and all this kind of thing. I've had people tell me stories like that. The closest thing that I've had somebody tell me, which I do believe, I have a Native American gentleman that's part of my organization, and I kind of call him my Bigfoot whisperer because
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
he seems,
They're the ones that know.
oh yeah,
They're
he seems to know things
yes.
that I have no clue how he knows them, but I've never proved him wrong. Okay. He'll tell me something, like we'll go on an expedition together and he'll say, nah, nothing here. And we'll spend time out, nothing. Other times I'll go out with him and I'll look around, I'll say, oh, there's nothing here. And he'll say, yep, they're here. And he's always right. And he's had encounters since he was 6 years old. And I really have come to trust him. If he tells me something, I believe him.
Right.
He just, I call him my Bigfoot whisperer. He had experiences, like I said, when he was a little boy, all the way up to now. And he was in the military, and he even had experiences with Bigfoot while he was in the military.
Wow. Okay.
So
Okay.
I think there
So
are certain individuals that Bigfoot is drawn to,
yes,
and I
absolutely.
was one of them. And that is as
Actually,
close to supernatural powers I think they have.
okay, yeah, I have actually heard what you just spoke about, that they're drawn to certain, individuals. Um, so what's the scariest or the biggest story that you have heard that has blown your mind? Okay, so tell me, Dean, what has been the most intriguing story or scary story that you believe that you've heard through your obviously years of serious research?
Well, I heard a story from a Bigfoot researcher. He does most of his out in the Rocky Mountain area. And he told the story about how he had had several sightings in this one area. And the last sighting he had was of an individual that had a gray streak on one side of his head.
Oh, I've heard of those.
Yep. Some of them, some Bigfoot, I've heard stories where they were almost completely gray. So I think it's like us. They probably go gray as they get older.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait a second. Hang on one second. Now, I heard
Mm-hmm.
that they're red. Okay, there's red ones.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the brown ones, and then there's the silver, with the silver ones, and then their children, their offspring.
Right.
Okay, so am I correct on that? On the colors?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they come in all shapes and sizes. I've seen a juvenile. I was within 40 feet of a juvenile one time, and he was only about maybe 4 foot tall.
Wow.
Um, and I've seen the big ones that are close to 8 foot tall. So there's all variations in sizes. I found tracks 2 years ago of apparently a very, very young individual. They weren't much bigger than a toddler's footprints. So yeah, they come in all shapes and sizes, because they have babies and grow like we do.
Right. Okay. So let's get back to the story with the one that had the gray streak down its head.
Right.
Let's go back.
Well, anyways, to get back to that, he said he saw this one with a gray streak down one side of its head. And about a month or so later, he went to a Halloween party. And there was a psychic at the Halloween party doing readings as part of the entertainment for the party. Well, he doesn't believe in that, so he didn't go and get read. And he was just getting ready to leave, and another person at the party came up to him and told him that the psychic wanted to speak to him.
Okay.
So he thought one of his friends had put her up to it, or, just to joke with him. So he went over, and she said to him, I've got to ask you a question, and please don't think I'm crazy. And he said, okay, what? She goes, do you go up into the mountains a lot? And he says, yes, I do. She goes, well, one of the times when you're up there, did you see something that looked like, oh, I don't know, a big monkey? And he said that nobody at this party knew that he did Bigfoot research, so there was no way anybody could have fed her this information. And he said, well, yes, I did. And he goes, did it have a big gray streak down the side of its head?
Wow.
And he said, yes. And she says, well, don't go back there. And
wow.
He goes, why not? She goes, well, it didn't really like the fact that you were there, and it's already made up its mind that if it sees you there again, it's going to kick your ass.
Oh my God.
And
Okay.
so that was the spookiest thing I ever had somebody tell
Well, yeah, because first of all, he doesn't even know her.
me.
Okay,
Right.
and and I believe in psychic mediums and all that stuff, and I've done interviews with them. And my partner in my separate business, which is more paranormal work, um, you know, they for her to tell him that and not even know, okay, for people out there that don't understand what you just talked about, had to be, just mind boggling
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't know anything, didn't know her, and she starts coming up and telling him the story, and she felt the need to keep him safe,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's probably the spookiest thing.
Okay. Wow. So you're not really into um the spookiest or anything else rather than um being just the research and just going out and trying to find these and figure out or what's going on. And so that's mainly what you do, and you stay away from any stories, and you have not encountered anything except for that you said you have seen a couple. Is that the only story, or is there anything else?
Oh, well, I got tons of stories.
Mhm.
But well, I'll tell you about when I saw the juvenile. That was kind of an interesting story.
Okay.
I had encounters with an adult one in that area. Actually, it was probably about almost exactly a year after I had the one chase me out of the woods that day by yelling at me. I mean, not literally chasing me, but he made me leave.
Yeah.
So it was in the same area, and I was in there doing what they call muzzle loading, which is when you hunt deer with the old-fashioned kind of rifle, where you actually have to load the rifle through the barrel and you pack it down,
Right.
and black powder they call it in some areas. Muzzle loading is a technical term for it. So, anyways, I was muzzle loading, hunting that day, and I shot at a deer, and I wasn't sure if I hit it. So I did the ethical thing, and I was looking for blood to try to find out whether I wounded the deer or not. And I spent about a half an hour, 45 minutes looking through the brush, and I never found any traces. So I assume I missed it.
Hmm.
So I made a big loop and came back around to where I started from, because that's just part of hunting deer. Sometimes deer will come right back to the same spot where they started from if they get scared. So I thought there's a chance he might have come back out in the field where I was hunting.
Sure.
So I made a big loop and came back around. And when I got back into the hardwood, I was walking along, and something caught my eye. And I looked over to one side, and I saw what I thought was a hunter in a ghillie suit sitting on the ground.
Okay.
And he was looking at me over his shoulder. Now, Bigfoot can't turn their heads like we do.
Yeah, exactly. I
They have
heard
to
that.
turn the whole body.
Yeah,
Like,
so they don't have a neck then.
right. And
Okay.
their chin actually hits their shoulder if they try to
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, he was turned to me kind of sideways, looking over his shoulder at me. And so I thought, like I said, I thought it was another hunter. And the land where I was belongs to me, and it's posted. The only people that are supposed to be in there are family members. And I knew that it wasn't any of my family. So I thought somebody had snuck in. So I decided I was going to say something to them. So I kind of pretended I didn't notice them. I kind of walked towards them, but I tried to look like I wasn't walking towards them.
Oh,
And when I got about 40 or 50 feet away from them,
oh, that's smart.
yeah,
To pretend that
I,
you're not seeing them, and
yeah. And
Okay,
so I got about 40 or 50
that's
feet
it.
away,
That's
and
a
I
good
turned
one.
around.
Yeah. Okay. Turn around.
I turned around and looked right at him, and I said, "Hey, buddy, what's up?" And then it stood up. And I was
Wow.
like, "Holy crap, that's not a person, it's a Bigfoot." And it stood up, and it was a small one. It was probably 4 foot tall. And it just stared at me for a second or two. It didn't act like it was afraid of me. Didn't act afraid at all. It was just like you'd walk up to somebody on the street. And it just looked at me for a second or two, and then it turned around and walked away very leisurely, didn't run, didn't act like it was in a hurry. It just got up and walked away. And
Wow.
I stood there with my heart up in my throat and I'm like,
Oh my
holy crap. I just
God.
said, hey, what's up to a Bigfoot?
Oh, that that's I mean that is absolutely that's actually wonderful. Now,
Yeah,
from this story, and you mentioning your gun, you're also a no kill. I want to bring this in because this
right,
is very very important part of it. You are a no kill organization. So let's just
right.
go talk a little bit about that for a second.
Okay, well, there are organizations and groups that believe that the only way to prove that Bigfoot is real and exists is to actually bring back a corpse.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's disgusting. But go ahead.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, our organization believes that that shouldn't happen. We shouldn't have to harvest a Bigfoot to prove that they are real and to
Right.
have them recognized as a species. We are very, very against one being taken in that way. Now, if one gets killed by accident, fine. Gets hit by a car or whatever kind of other thing could happen to kill one and it's found, great. But we don't feel that one should actually be shot or however killed to prove that these species exist.
And
There was a show that was on, I think it was Discovery Channel a few years ago. It was actually called Killing Bigfoot.
mhm.
We protested that with a lot of other Bigfoot organizations. We complained that that show should be taken off the air. We were successful in the short term. They did take it off. But then about 2 years later, they brought it back. They just changed the name of it, but it was the same show. They called it Bigfoot is Real, I think, when they brought it back. But we were very, very much against that show, and we were very much against the organization that was actually filming it.
Yeah, well, problem is with Hollywood because I've done TV is when they do shows like that, it's more of a scare tactic for people. People watch it because it's it's like oh my god, and they want to be scared, and that's what Hollywood wants you to see. So that's very typical of Hollywood, and I had my bout with Travel Channel, so um, that happens a lot. But
I
now,
interviewed with Discovery Channel several years ago. They were going to do a show called Extreme Bigfooting, and I'd actually gotten chosen to be on the team, but then the show died in pre-production, so it never went anywhere. But one of the things that I emphasized when they interviewed me was is that I would not fake evidence. I would not do the wow factor kind of thing like you see in shows like Expedition Bigfoot or Finding Bigfoot. I wouldn't. I told them I wouldn't do any of that. I was going to go in there, and the evidence was going to be what the evidence was, and I was not going to exaggerate it. I was not going to be one of those guys like, "Ooh, I think there's a squatch in this woods because a leaf fell on the ground or something." But I emphasized that during the interview process that I would not be part of that.
well, I did too. Okay, but unfortunately, um, they didn't portray me that whatsoever. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's when the contracts come in that what you want is going to be actually filmed and not what they decide to make you look like a complete idiot.
Right.
So, you know, so you got involved with somebody that was very ethical, which is unheard of. Okay. But I'm really glad that you stuck to that. And so, is there anything else that you would like to talk about in regards to our interview today that you can think of?
Um, well, I know that probably some of the people that are going to be seeing this, seeing the other things that both you and I do, they get all excited and they want to go out and they want to experience.
Oh my God. Yes.
I want to emphasize to those people that if you are going to do a Bigfoot expedition, if you are going to go out in the woods, be prepared that you may actually get one that's going to interact with you. I get so sick and tired. You watch the shows like Terror in the Woods or some of the other ones you see on different shows where the people, they're interviewing actual people and, oh yeah, and then you see them and they're so scared. I mean, they're peeing their pants when they actually get a Bigfoot and interact with them.
Yeah, exactly. But
that really
that's what
bothers
they.
that.
But that's what TV wants.
I know, but it bothers the heck out of me.
Don't you think I was bothered by the? Imagine I'm telling them the exact same thing you told them, okay, for the show, and then all of a sudden you see the show and it's nothing what you told them. They made it into what they wanted to.
Sure.
So, but
what I'm saying, trying to say here is, folks, if you want to go out, fine. If you want to have an encounter with a Bigfoot, okay, but be prepared for the fact that they are real. Okay, I'm not lying to you. They exist. I've seen them. I've heard them. I've found tracks numerous times. I've had other experiences with them. Don't go out there and act like a little girl and yell and scream and run off and find your mama. Okay, if you're going to go out there, be prepared for the fact that you may get lucky and have an encounter. If you do, cherish that. Don't run away from them. They're not going to hurt you. Okay, they might try to scare you away, but they're not going to hurt you. You're safe. Okay, so please just go out there with the knowledge that you are actually interacting with another species that is almost as intelligent as you are, if not more.
Wow.
That's what I'd like to say.
Yeah, well, I agree with you because that's what you see, and I do agree with you that, I have this one guy and he's very, they're just attracted to him. So, like, no matter where he goes, camping, anywhere, they always appear to him in one way or another. Now, he's not afraid of them. He doesn't want to kill them. He's not trying to prove anything or anything. Have you ever heard of a Bigfoot being attracted to a certain individual, no matter where they go? I mean, they could be in any state.
Well, like I said, the guy that I have that is part of my organization, my Bigfoot Whisperer, I think they're attracted to him.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you already talked about
him. And in a lesser extent, I think maybe that I've been lucky over the years because of my attitude towards them. And I've been very lucky over the years and had several, more encounters than the average person has.
Well, yeah, because I think you have a pure heart, and I think that they sense that,
and I've actually did gifting with them. They've gifted me back. I've just had a great experience over the years with the Bigfoot or Sasquatch. I'll tell you a real quick story that kind of went along with what I just talked about. Several years ago, I was on TAP's blog show that they had, which is Ghost Hunters. If you've ever seen the show Ghost Hunters, that's the organization that runs that.
Oh, God, help me. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, they came up to the Bath, New York area to do an investigation of a haunted cemetery. And while they were there, they found Bigfoot tracks in a cornfield near the cemetery. So to make a long story short, it ended up getting referred to me. And I went down there and did a weekend investigation. And there was a family that was very, very nice to me. They put me up for the weekend and fed me and did, all they could do for me. And I was guided around the area by one of the family members. And anyways, there was a young girl that was with the family and she wanted to go with us. And her mother told her she could go as long as she listened to what I said and did what I told her to do. So we did this night investigation. I had asked her and the other guy that was with me to go up and do some wood knocking while I stayed stationary in one spot. They got a response, but they didn't know enough not to get excited and start talking real loud, which was, it's death when you're doing one of those things because the Bigfoot shut right down as soon as you do that. So anyways, they came running back to me. Oh, we just got a response, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but you shouldn't have been talking as loud as you were. So I said, we're done for the night. So we're walking back to our vehicles and the young man was walking in front of me and this young lady was walking next to me. And she just leaned into me and she said, boy, it's really, really hard to see here, isn't it, walking in the dark? And she no more said that. And we got a tree knock that couldn't have been more than 50 yards away from us. I mean, it was a big crack.
Wow.
And it
Yeah.
was, I think every paranormal investigator, no matter whether you're investigating ghosts or whatever, you have that, what you call a Scooby-Doo moment. Okay. It was a Scooby-Doo moment. She grabbed hands full of me and climbed right up on my back.
Oh my
There's
God.
one right over there. There's one right over there. And I was like, yeah, calm down. It's just over there. It's not going to hurt us.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I think every paranormal investigator that's been in the field has had that moment.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they're far and few between any really good paranormal investigators, just like with Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So, but I really appreciate you coming on today and, setting everybody straight about, what's going on with Bigfoot and the experiences that you have, the research that you have done. It's very, very believable. I mean, I would have to say that, out of all the interviewees that I've done, that you're absolutely the best.
Well,
So
thank you.
I want people to know that, you got to remember Dean Gleason is on Facebook, and that's Seaway Valley Bigfoot Research. Okay. That's where he's starting right now. And don't forget, he's done TV, he's well known. And obviously, you can see he's not a crazy lunatic. So, anyways, I wanted to kind of wrap it up with that because I think it's kept everyone pretty excited and is very informative. And if they have any questions, if you guys have any questions, you can contact him on Facebook. Okay, that's simple to do. Or you can contact me and I can put you into contact with him. All right. So I just want to say thank you so much, Dean, for coming on today. And
You're more than welcome.
I'm really good. I really look up to you now. So you're going to be getting, unfortunately, Dean, you're going to be getting questions from me coming through Messenger.
That's fine.
Because you're going to be my man to go to. Okay, you're my man now to go to. I have different go-to people, and so since we've done this interview, you're my man to go to. So everybody, this is a guy to go to. All right. So okay, so we're going to sign off, and we're going to get this posted and get you out there. So I just
Thank you very much.
thank you. Stay okay.